Lovecraft was afraid of many things in his life. He feared the modern world and all of its noise and demands. He feared germs and the many functions of the human body. And he was also afraid of fish. People aren't very sure where this fear arose from, but it connects with his fear of the deep ocean. Plenty of people, including myself, can relate to at least the fear of deep water. This is probably part of the reason why Lovecraft's mythos is still so impactful. In December 1931, Lovecraft would write one of his most famous stories, The Shadow over Innsmouth, and it would combine all of his fears into one story. Innsmouth is a very popular type of setting in Lovecraft inspired media. It immediately drives home that feeling of hostility and danger that many take inspiration to this day. I think an apt comparison would be the village segment in Resident Evil 4. Usually in Lovecraft stories, they focus on a grand journey or a cosmic entity like in Call of Cthulhu or At the Mountains of Madness. In Innsmouth, the horror feels more personal and grounded, or at least for the first half. I feel like Lovecraft really hits his stride on this story because there's a lot more balance between the drama of the story and his lengthy descriptions of the architecture. He goes into painstaking detail to make sure that Innsmouth feels like a real place, and props to Tanabe for making probably the best iteration of Innsmouth we'll ever see. It's appropriately gloomy and dense. It must have been a very hard task for him to translate all of Lovecraft's terrains into something tangible. Tanabe is also doing his best work here with the most creepy imagery that he's done out of all the adaptations. One that particularly sticks out is the foreshadowing of the hotel. You have to love how much that Tanabe respects Lovecraft's writing while simultaneously adding more to it. I've also failed to mention this in previous adaptations, but I like how Tanabe's artwork is distinctly more American, for lack of a better term. It definitely doesn't look anime or stylized to a great deal. But other than that, the art style that he has chosen here adds a certain sense of realism to the story. Also, like always, his interpretations of Lovecraft's creatures looks so good. One thing I'm appreciating more about Lovecraft as I read his stories is the sheer amount of creativity involved. This guy was writing such intense material during the very early 1900s. His stories often reference other creatures within the mythos as well. I doubt that this was a very common feature in a person's writing at that time period when he was alive. I mean, many authors have their own shared universe, but this is way ahead of its time. There's certainly a lot more action involved in Innsmouth than his other stories as well. Things get pretty weird quickly at the beginning and just get weirder. I do have to wonder if the inspiration of this is from his time in Red Hook. For those of you who don't know, Lovecraft lived in Red Hook for about a year and had a burning hatred of the place due to its modern aspects and the amount of minorities. It's pretty obvious that the Innsmouth people are stand ins for people of color. The story gets a little uncomfortable once you understand what they represent, but everybody knows that Lovecraft was a racist, of course. In many of his stories, he prominently features different cultures and ethnicities as threats, like in the ones of Call of Cthulhu, who worships the deity. It is a bit on the nose in Innsmouth, though, and I won't lie and say it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. I had no illusions of him being a good person by any means, but it's certainly here. If you can look past the weird undertones, Innsmouth stands as one of his best works. The twist at the end was definitely not what I expected, and I highly recommend checking it out, especially considering the Go Tanabe adaptation.